So take us through that experience with Skyscraper. Have you ever been, you're not that kind of anxious, I would imagine, because you're not televising broadcasting live a possible death. That's why people are watching, really. I mean, it's possible. And so take us through that compared to anything else you've ever done.
Yeah, it's not like anything I've ever done. I mean, ever. Just because, like, when you do a pregame, like, certainly I've had, like, sort of that, you're doing something for the first time, you have all of this, like, energy, you're like, and we're here, right? But you have commercial breaks, like, you have, like, time where you're not talking, and it really does sort of like lower some of that energy a little bit and get you in a sweet spot, right? Like, you have time to like take a deep breath. I think in that situation, it was the first time that I was obviously covering something where there were real implications of death, like true ones. It was the first time that someone 5 minutes before broadcast handed me a card that was like, if this person falls off the building, here's what you're going to say, and then we're going to get off air. And then I had honestly like built a rapport with Alex. I went out to his home. I like hung out with him and his wife. I played on the kitchen floor with his like little daughters. Like, I had built an affection for him. And it was like, we all knew he was like in firm control of this, but anything can happen. We're in Taiwan. There could be an earthquake. Like, there was just a lot of anxiety. And I think for me, like, when I went back and watched it, I was like, oh man, I started out at a 10. And then I just stayed at a 10 like the entire time. So I think, it was tough because like nothing like this has ever happened before. We really didn't know what the broadcast would look like. We didn't know, like, there was no blueprint. So we were a little bit of like a science experiment, and I think that we would all do things different. But I think for me specifically, yeah, I would absolutely do it very differently if I, had another crack at something like this. Although again, it's like, when am I great that I took some notes down? Next time a guy climbs a skyscraper, I'll know exactly how to comport myself. But, I do hope that, like, my tone, which was definitely off, I mentioned it a couple of times, like, I was sort of broadcasting to the people that were there in the park with us, that were loud and cheering and like into it and gasping. And like, there was so much energy. But when you go back and watch the broadcast, right, when you're the viewer, like, there's none of that energy is coming through, only tension, and only like drama and these beautiful scenes and this man dangling off a cliff. And like, all of that was enough, and so I went in with an objective to like teach the world about Alex Honnold, but like, it just really wasn't necessary in that moment. And it's not something that you can know until you look back on it. And unfortunately, like, it wasn't my best. I don't think I stuck the landing completely, but it was a really, really, really tough thing that I'd never done before. And I was willing to, take a chance and see, how it would go. And so, I'm proud of myself for that, for like doing something that had never been done before and just being a part of, someone's history making climb. Like, that was really cool.
What did the card say?
It literally was like, what did it say? It was like, we've experienced a fall, and so we're going to cut the live stream right now, and we'll update you as soon as we can on Alex's condition.
That is an odd thing to give you for the first time 5 minutes before something.
I knew we were going to do it. No, I knew we were going to do it. It just like, it was sort of going to be one of those things that they were going to like pop in. We had a 10-second delay. We were going to cut away to a wide shot. They were going to pop this statement up in prompter. So I knew we were going to do it. I just hadn't seen it right until like right before I was going on air. And it was like just a reminder of like, this is your card. If prompter doesn't get there, this is what you'll say. So it was just another sort of reminder. And like, again, that has nothing to do with like, me being at a level that was just not sustainable for 2 straight hours. But yeah, it was a really high pressure situation in general. I also think that like, it felt very celebratory. Like, again, the tension at home didn't feel that way there. It felt like Alex is like laughing and he's smiling and he's playing, the crowd is playing into him and they're waving at him. It just felt very different when I was there. And it was a reminder, like, you're not broadcasting for the, 900 people that were in front of you, but rather for the 6 million people that were at home. So, tough lesson to learn in front of the world, but like, it's okay. I've been dunked on before on social media.
But you're being very critical and very hard on yourself. And as you do so, Zaslow is red-faced with laughter from Tony, something Tony is saying.
I mean, Dan, how could the update, we'll update you as soon as we can, how could the update on him falling be anything other than death?
Yeah, it's like he fell from the 60s.
There were some ledges. There were times where he was like climbing and he
Yes.
he could have fallen to a ledge that wasn't all the way down.
Yes, that's exactly right, Chris. And he said that. He was like, at certain places in the building, it would be certain death. But at some places, he could fall on a ledge, a balcony. There were boxes. Like, there was a way that he could maybe live. But, like, we all know that.
Zaz, you are red-faced with laughter because you and Tony were doing your own show over there in which, like, the report is going to be like, we'll update you when we come back on. And you guys are saying, well, he's splattered. He fell 100 stories.
Okay, there's a ledge, so he would hit his head on the way down.
I hit his head from 20 stories
You
instead
don't
of
get it.
All right.
There were like.
No, buddy, I get it. But if you fall from 20 stories, it's not
No,
good.
you're right. They kept saying on the thing, they're like, I know you might think, but falling 100 feet's the same thing as falling from the top of the building.
You're being very hard on yourself, Elle. Are you normally this hard on yourself, or was the feedback bad? Like, I don't like what you're doing here. I thought that what I heard of what you were doing was great, but you're going to have a higher standard for yourself than I am.
Yeah, I mean, I really do not go to social media to like elicit feedback because I just think like either way, people are always wrong. Like you're never as good as they say you are. You're never as bad as they say you are, right? But I wanted to right away just go watch it. So once we got done with all our post stuff, I went back and watched it, and right away I was like, ooh, I was on a 10. And then like people are sliding onto pictures and being like, oh my God, you were so annoying. You were like, so it's not like I'm like doom scrolling on Twitter and I'm not a masochist, like just seeing all the negative things that people are saying. But I mean, I am critical of my work, especially as I'm moving into a stage, Dan, where I'm going to be trying new things. I didn't need to go break down an episode of SportsCenter. I did it every day for 10 years, like, right? But with things like this, like if I really want to grow and I want to get better and I want to try different things, then I have to give myself real feedback. And that was my real feedback. Like, a full acknowledgement that sometimes I think people are just mean for the sake of being mean. And there's things that I've done that people dunk on and I stand on it and I'm like, I don't care. I thought that shit was funny, or I liked it, or I don't care. But this was one of those where I was like, I could see, like, I get it. They're not wrong. So yeah, but it's all good. Like I have the spine for this, Dan, right? Like, which is the only reason that I'm willing to put myself in a position to keep trying things I've never done before, and seeing if I'm any good.
Oh,
Because if I'm not,
I know you have the spine for it. It's why I'm surprised that you're anxious, because none of that presents on television. You are one of the most, you present as one of the most confident people I have seen in sports television. We don't have as much time with you as I'd like. Al Michaels is going to be on with us, and we've got Pitch Clock coming on later. Elle Duncan with us here. I have some fill-in-the-blank questions for you because I have a ton of questions.
Okay.
How much did it freak you out communicating with Alex during the climb?
I asked him ahead of time, are you sure you want to talk to me? He was like, yeah. And like, in fact, we were only going to talk to him once. He was like, you just don't want to talk to me once? You don't want to talk to me more than that? I was like, if you want to talk more than that, go for it. But it was cool.
What percentage of chance did he think there was of him actually dying?
I don't know about percentage. He told me it was a 6 probably in terms of difficulty of climb, but tough
out of 100?
Physically. 6 out of 10. But in terms of physical difficulty, it was up there. I don't know. He probably would have put it at a less than 1% chance just because he was very confident.
Explain. Every floor he seemed like there were people at the, was that planned? Because I feel like that was, I'm on my couch with my friends and I'm like, hey, stop distracting him. They're waving. They're trying to get his attention. That to me felt like maybe that was like a crack in the production and like they weren't expecting people to gather there. On every floor, he had fans cheering for him. It seemed very distracting.
He was fully aware. And when he did practice climbs, that is a public building. There's businesses there. So he knew he would climb and people would wave at him that whole time. So he knew and he enjoyed it. Like he said afterwards, he was like, I tried to give a guy a high five, but he was too busy being on his phone. It was not distracting. He didn't know if it would be. He's never free soloed something with people, but it was a public building. So we didn't stage people there. They were just there.
How many milligrams, Chris?
Oh, dude, I was so nervous.
Do you have any idea how this event is insured?
None, but I will say this. I have a couple of times Googled Lloyd's of London because I feel like they're probably one of the only. It was tough. The chairman of the building, you guys, after it finished, she came up to the green room and she burst into tears when she hugged Alex because her job was on the line. A lot of people's jobs were on the line, a ton. I don't know how they made this happen, but they did. They could have never done it in the States. It's not. It's just not. You can't get it insured there. So maybe some Taiwanese insurance. I don't know.
What is the second most scared you've been for a broadcast?
The second most scared. Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? Scared's not the right word, but I would say equally sort of like, had to take a couple deep breaths was before the national championship, Caitlin Clark versus South Carolina, just because I knew that thing was going to pull a freaking number. And, we had a lot of like attention, the big three and whatnot, and I just really felt a lot of pressure to perform. So, but again, when you're in situations that you've been in a million times, even when you're anxious, you just lean on experience. When you don't have any experience in that situation, you don't have anything to lean on.
Always nice seeing you. Thank you for making
Love you
time
guys.
for us. Don't make
Oh,
it so
hey, what's
long
up,
next
Greg?
time. See you later.
Okay, bye.